Very good afternoon. You're watching the Midday News on Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are the headlines. France acts against Masood Azhar, freezes Jaish-e-Mohammed chief's French assets, says will discuss putting Masood Azhar on EU list of people suspected of being involved in terrorism. 40 killed, 20 badly hurt in New Zealand mosque attacks. Gunman and Australian-born citizen. Police detain 4 suspects. Bangladesh cricketers escape a shooting attack in mosque. Terrorism posing threat to peace and development across the world, says the Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, calls for global efforts to stamp out menace of terrorism. Supreme Court seeks Election Commission response on counting of VVPAT slips, asks Election Commission to depute a person to assist the court. First high-level Election Commission meet begins. Committee to check use of illegal money during elections. Supreme Court cancels life ban on former cricketer S. Sreesanth, asks BCCI to reconsider punishment within 3 months. Today's verdict will have no effect on criminal proceedings pending against Sreesanth. In a big development, France has announced that it has decided to freeze the assets of Jaish-e-Mohammed founder and chief Masood Azhar. The French government said that the freeze would apply to Azhar's assets that are there in the country. A joint statement issued by the French Interior Ministry and Foreign Ministry added that the France would discuss putting Masood Azhar on a European Union list of people suspected of being involved in terrorism. And let's get all the details. Our colleague Akhilesh Suman is now joining us on the phone line. Akhilesh, this is a very big development now because after China, put a did not allow Masood Azhar to be put on the list of global terrorists. Now this action by France is of huge significance.
Yes, right. It is huge significance because, you remember that France, Britain and US had moved the resolution in United Nations Security Council for banning Masood Azhar. And because of veto of China, it was not accepted and it could not be implemented. So that is why statements were coming from various Security Council members that they may go other way around also, and there are other options available. And I think this is one of the major options available, that every country can ban Masood Azhar from any transaction, from any movement. And, that is why French Interior Ministry, Economic Ministry and also Finance Ministry had jointly issued this circular. And this circular has been published in French Gazette today. And France has also said that it will also talk to other European partners to do the same. So in that way, Masood Azhar is being isolated, and isolation is also, becoming very significant as far as Pakistan and China are also concerned. Because China is one country that was putting, veto after veto, and this was the 4th veto on Masood Azhar. So it is, in a way, time to learn to China that, if France has taken this step, and after this step, many other countries will follow. And it is not the question of only Security Council members. This time, significant and huge number of even non-Security Council members have also, jointly participated in moving this resolution. So I think India has made it very clear, and other countries are also making it very clear that the type of politics going on in Security Council is not acceptable. Given the fact that, every permanent member of Security Council has veto power, but one can cross the veto power also, and they can make their own internal arrangement. And that is why France has said that we are making our own internal arrangement, that any transaction, any movement of Masood Azhar will not be accepted. Aishwarya?
Right. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all those updates there. And now let's get you all the news on Lok Sabha elections. All right, first let's get you the other big story that we are tracking. 40 people were killed and 20 more were seriously injured in armed assaults on two Christchurch mosques today. Many women and children believed to be among those who have been killed. Police said that 4 people were in custody and a number of improvised explosive devices were defused. The Prime Minister of the country has described it as a terrorist attack and marked it as one of New Zealand's darkest days. The gunman at one mosque was an Australian-born citizen, and Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said in Sydney, describing him as an extremist, right-wing, violent terrorist.
4 are in custody, 3 are men and 1 a woman. 1 is a woman, as I understand it. It's moving quite quickly, so I need to frame that in that way, that that's what we believe at this moment. We are still looking at the circumstances that surround that. It doesn't get any more serious in this country. But let's not presume that the danger is gone.
I'm not in a position to give any further detail about the individual that's currently in police custody. At this stage, the police are continuing to advise those who are in the area to remain indoors. They have said that they could be dealing with other offenders. That's why they, of course, are taking the approach of ensuring people's safety. And so until people hear otherwise, I ask that they listen to the advice they're being given directly by the New Zealand Police.
The nature of the crime, would you describe it as a hate crime?
Meanwhile, the Bangladesh cricket team's tour of New Zealand was called off after the players had a narrow escape from a shooting attack on a mosque. The Bangladesh team, which was about to enter the mosque to offer prayers, escaped unscathed. But the prevailing situation led the authorities to call off the third and final test match starting Saturday. And now let's get you all the news on Lok Sabha elections. The Supreme Court sought the Election Commission's response on a plea by opposition leaders seeking counting of VVPAT slips of 50% of EVMs in each constituency before the Lok Sabha results are declared. A bench headed by Chief Justice of India Ranjan Gogoi also asked the Election Commission to depute a senior officer to assist the court and posted the matter for next hearing in the case on 25th of March. The Apex Court was hearing a petition filed by leaders from 21 different political parties. The opposition had approached the top court after the poll body refused to accept their representation in the month of February. And the Election Commission's Multi-Department Committee on Election Intelligence held its first meeting today in the national capital. The high-level committee aims to map almost every Lok Sabha constituency in order to check a transportation of smuggled goods, drugs and liquor besides cash and fake currency. Now, this committee's top agenda is to curb covert expenditure by candidates and political parties in the upcoming Lok Sabha polls. More than 15 agencies have been brought in by the Election Commission to operate in a coordinated manner to check economic offences during elections. The heads of these agencies are also expected to participate today in the meeting. News from Andhra Pradesh, where the ruling TDP on Thursday released its list of 126 candidates for the 11th of April Assembly elections. Name of the Chief Minister and TDP President N. Chandrababu Naidu and his son Lokesh figured in the list announced by Naidu himself at a late-night press conference. Now, he called it a Mission 150 Plus as the party aimed to win at least 150 out of the total 175 seats in the Assembly. He said that the first list of candidates for the Lok Sabha elections scheduled simultaneously would be announced later in the day today. The TDP chief, who released an audio song for the campaign, said that he would kickstart the campaign from Srikakulam district on 16th of March after worshipping Lord Venkateshwar atop the Tirumala hills. Naidu will be contesting the assembly elections for the 7th time from Kuppam in his native Chittoor district. All On to some other news. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that terrorism is posing a major threat to peace and development all over the world. He called for all the countries in the world to come together to stamp out the menace of terrorism. The Vice President added that India has been a victim of cross-border terrorism for many years. He also said that India always believed in peaceful coexistence with all the neighbouring countries. And earlier, the Vice President had slammed Pakistan for funding and training terrorists and likened its position after the recent airstrikes to a thief stung by a scorpion. He said this at an event in the PSG Institute of Technology and Applied Research in Coimbatore. Addressing the gathering, he also hailed the Indian Armed Forces for their recent airstrikes on terror camps in Pakistan. The Vice President added that everyone witnessed how the defence forces fought for the cause of unity and integrity of the nation, how skillfully they did their duty in the recent airstrikes. And talking about farmers' plight, he said that agriculture sector should get the same importance as technology and research, and instead of SOPs that are often to farmers like loan waivers.
We have seen how our army fought for the cause of the unity and integrity of the nation. How skillfully they have done their duty in the recent strikes. The situation of our neighboring country is such, they can't accept it, they can't keep quiet. There is a saying in Telugu, Dongaku Teru Purte, Vadu Yadavaledu, Gamuga Udaledu. If a scorpion eats a bird, bites a person, he can't cry because he's a thief. And he can't keep quiet because it pains. That is the situation of Pakistan today. Our neighbor is aiding, abetting, funding, training terrorists. So the valor and the sacrifice shown by our Jawans should be remembered.
And 6 persons were killed and 31 others were injured after a section of a foot-over bridge near a busy train station in South Mumbai collapsed during evening rush hours on Thursday. The tragedy comes 8 months after another bridge collapsed in suburban Andheri, in which 5 persons were killed. Now, this is the third such tragedy in 2 years in Mumbai. Now, the police has registered a case under Section 304A, that is causing death by negligence of the Indian Penal Code, against the officials of the Central Railway and the BNC in connection with the incident. The Maharashtra government has ordered a high-level probe into the tragic incident and has asked the authorities to take responsibility for the collapse by this evening. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has announced a compensation of 5 lakh rupees for the kin of deceased and 50,000 rupees for the injured, apart from providing all the necessary treatment to them.
जो जानकारी मुझे कमिश्नर ने दी है उसमें इसको स्ट्रक्चरल ऑडिट में फिट पाया गया और कुछ माइनर रिपेयर्स कहे गए थे। उसके बावजूद अगर ये पुल गिरता है और इतनी भीषण दुर्घटना होती है तो कहीं ना कहीं ये स्ट्रक्चरल ऑडिट के ऊपर भी एक प्रश्न चिन्ह निर्माण होता है और इसकी भी जांच की जाएगी। स्ट्रक्चरल ऑडिट अगर गलत किया गया है, उसका रिपोर्ट अगर ठीक नहीं आया है, उसमें अगर कोताही बरती गई है तो निश्चित रूप से ये एक सदोष मनुष्यवध का ऑफेंस भी इसमें दाखिल किया जाएगा।
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed deep anguish over the loss of lives due to the foot-over bridge collapse. The Prime Minister said that the Maharashtra government is providing all possible assistance to those affected. Railway Minister Piyush Goyal also expressed his sincere condolences to the families of the victims. Meanwhile, officials said that the foot-over bridge is around 35 years old and the last repair was undertaken in 2010-2011. The bridge was declared fit to use only 6 months ago. The rescue operations are now over and a team of 45 NDRF Jawans were withdrawn from the spot. In midday news, we'll take a very short break. News and updates continue on the other side.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. a salute to diversity, promoting public discourse, events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
What Raisina Hill did was to give them some kind of an Indian acropolis. So it served as some kind of an Indian acropolis.
In the initial 3-4 months, we used to lose track in this building, lose our way in the building, because the rooms look so magnificent, so great.
While to a common eye it may look very simple, all functions here, they are very complex, and it's a teamwork.
As a proud, self-made republic, we could not have a queen or a king, but we had the head of state whom we called the Rashtrapati or the president, and we ensconced that figure in the grandest possible building.
Welcome back after the break. Let's get you all the international news now. British MPs voted by 413 to 202, a majority of 211 for Prime Minister Theresa May to ask the European Union to delay the Brexit. Now, it means that the UK may not leave on 29th of March as previously planned, the European Union. May says that Brexit could be delayed by 3 months to 30th of June if the MPs now back her deal in a vote next week. May had been forced to offer MPs a vote on delaying Brexit after they rejected her withdrawal agreement by a large margin for a second time and then voted to reject a no-deal Brexit. Also on Thursday, the lawmakers voted against holding a second Brexit referendum, a complete do-over that could see the results of the historic June 2016 plebiscite overturned. Meanwhile, Donald Tusk, the president of the European Council, tweeted that he would now urge EU leaders to support a longer extension if Britain needed to rethink its Brexit strategy and build consensus around it. May is offering lawmakers a stark choice: either support her now, twice after rejecting the Brexit deal in a third meaningful vote next week, or face the prospect of a very long Brexit delay, which could stretch far into the future, perhaps for a year or even more. And the US Senate has voted 59 to 41 to reverse President Donald Trump's emergency declaration to spend $8 billion to build a wall on its border with Mexico. The vote on Thursday set up the first veto showdown of Donald Trump's presidency and a major political issue for the 2020 election. Despite last-minute personal appeals from Donald Trump and also a White House lobbying campaign, 12 Republicans broke with the president to join the Democrats in voting against the wall. The margin, however, fell short of what would be needed to override a Trump veto, which the US president is likely to do, according to his tweet that he sent a few minutes after the Senate decision. Donald Trump tweeted, "Veto." Building a wall to stop migration from Mexico was Donald Trump's signature campaign during his presidential election campaign in 2016. It was also at the core of the constitutional standoff between Donald Trump and Congress that led to a 35-day government shutdown earlier this year.
No, I don't know what the vote will be. It doesn't matter. I'll probably have to veto. And it's not going to be overturned, and we're going to have our whole thing. It's been, the legal scholars all say it's totally constitutional. It's very important. It's really a border security vote. It's pure and simple. It's a vote for border security. It's a vote for no crime.
News from Afghanistan, where 31 militants, many of them believed to be from Al-Qaeda, have been killed in airstrikes in southeastern Afghanistan. The strikes were carried out in Ghazni province late on Wednesday, where the Defense Ministry said that they targeted a base belonging to the militants. Now, one of the facilitators for Al-Qaeda was transferring these 31 terrorists, including 9 suicide bombers, in several cars when they were targeted by the airstrikes and were eliminated. The Afghan Defense Ministry further did not specify who carried out the airstrikes. At the moment, only Afghan and US forces in Afghanistan conduct airstrikes. Al-Qaeda is still active in parts of Afghanistan as well as Pakistan, where some of its surviving leadership are also thought to be hiding. Big relief for former cricketer S. Sreesanth as the Supreme Court cancelled his life ban and asked the BCCI to reconsider punishment. The Apex Court has set aside the BCCI's disciplinary committee's order imposing a life ban on Sreesanth for his alleged involvement in the 2013 IPL spot fixing scandal. The bench also asked the BCCI to reconsider its punishment within 3 months, the quantum of punishment to be given to Sreesanth. The bench made it clear that Sreesanth will get the opportunity of being heard by the committee on the quantum of the punishment. The Apex Court also said that its verdict shall have no effect on the criminal proceedings that are pending against Sreesanth in the Delhi High Court. Committee of Administrators Chief Vinod Rai said that the life ban on S. Sreesanth will be discussed when the committee meets next.
So if life ban is lifted, that is a huge relief, and it's more like a lifeline for me. I'm 36 years old. I just have 4 or 5 years of good cricket left in me. So I'll try my best. I've been keeping myself fit and raring to go. But yes, the season starts only in October, November. Hopefully, if Kerala has done really well the last season, which is getting into semi-finals. So even to play for my own club will be difficult for me to get back to fitness. So one by one. So I'll wait 90 days. That doesn't mean I'll wait in the house. I'll start practicing. And it's been 6 years. So even the biggest of punishment, even the biggest of international cricketers have been playing cricket, even after being guilty. So I'm sure even after getting a clean sheet, I've waited another 4 years from 2015. So I'm sure BCCI will be kind enough. In fact, it will come on my favor, and I'll get to play, because at 36 I don't think I am a competition for anybody.
Special Olympics World Games 2019 began at Abu Dhabi in the UAE on Thursday. The event has already made history by welcoming a record-breaking 200 nations at the Games. A large number of women athletes are also competing at the Games. The Indian contingent is second largest after the host UAE. Now, being held in the Middle East for the first time, 7,500 athletes will take part in 24 Olympic-style sports over the next 7 days. And Deepa Karmakar has made it to the vault final after finishing third in the qualifying round of the Artistic Gymnastics World Cup at Baku in Azerbaijan. The 25-year-old who had finished fourth in the event at the 2016 Rio Olympics performed a higher difficulty hand front 540 vault yesterday for the first time in the competition. The final will be held tomorrow. Deepa Karmakar had claimed a bronze medal at the vault event of the Artistic Gymnastics World Cup in Germany in November last year. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. Thanks for watching.